Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Nancy Credell. She's the Deputy Director for Operations for Senior Resources. We'll meet her again when we come back, so stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is a returning guest to the show. Her name is Nancy Credell. She's the Deputy Director for Operations for Senior Resources. First of all, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back.
So this will be, I believe, your third time or so on the show, and we always seem to touch on different topics. First of all, before we get to our main topic of Medicare today, let's sort of refresh people's memories if they haven't watched the other shows about what Senior Resources is.
Well, Senior Resources is the area agency on aging for Eastern Connecticut. There are 5 area agencies statewide. We have a 56-town region that actually borders all the Connecticut, east of the Connecticut River is our territory, right up until Rhode Island and Massachusetts.
Now, for those watching in Rhode Island, there are similar services. It's just they call theirs a different name, right?
Yes, I believe they refer to theirs as the Department of Elder Affairs. But oftentimes, if people can't remember that name, the federal name for the senior health insurance programs that we're discussing today is called SHIP. And there's also the State Unit on Aging. So if they call the operator and just said the State Unit on Aging, typically they're going to get the unit that is at the Capitol, and then from there be referred to if there's local county folks that handle these situations.
Gotcha.
So it makes the geographical location easier for access for.
At Rhode Island, you know, there might be more of a centralized location instead of the 5 that you were talking about for Connecticut, just because
That's
of
correct.
the geography of the state, right?
And I believe that that is the case there. So we have, you know, for instance, South Central Area Agency on Aging, North Central Area Agency. It just denotes the geographic location of the agency. And we changed ours to Senior Resources because folks were hanging up by the time we said Eastern Connecticut Area Agency on Aging.
I don't have time for this. I'm getting older. I don't have time to listen through all this. And how about for our folks living in the greater Bridgeport area and then also down in Fairfield County? Are they still part of Connecticut as far as this goes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they have their own area agency. Right in Bridgeport is the South, I believe, it's not the South, it's Southwestern Area Agency on Aging, and then there's Western up there in, I forget the name of the town up there.
Danbury, maybe? Or
where is
St.
Mary's Hospital?
Is it up? Well, it's definitely up more north and to the west.
Exactly.
What I wanted to mention was, for those watching in Rhode Island or maybe down in the Bridgeport, Connecticut area, if the contact numbers that end up on the screen, if they go to Nancy and her offices, she can certainly refer you to a more appropriate location that's nearer to you. So the topics that we'll be discussing today are general enough for everybody, whether you're in Rhode Island, Connecticut, down in Fairfield County, Connecticut, to be able to take advantage of.
Absolutely. And when folks call and there's individual products that are available in their county, not every county will certainly make the referral to the appropriate source.
So even though there's different names, like in Connecticut, it's Senior Resources, how was it decided way back when that you know, an agency like this was necessary? Because basically, it's agency on aging. So somebody decided way back when, let's do something for the aging.
That's true. At one point, it was. It's changed names, like in Connecticut, DOA, Department on Aging. Well, that didn't really sound good.
That's the worst name. Someone actually decided to name them DOA. Wow.
I know. We got a chuckle out of that.
DEAD will be the next one. You know?
So things have changed over time. We have the health insurance program that used to be called High Cap, but is now called Choices. In Massachusetts, they have the insurance program that's called Shine. I'm not sure what it's called in Rhode Island, but these names have originated. But now, if you use the term State Unit on Aging, you're going to get the information that you're going to need, even if they have to refer you to a local agency.
Right,
so that's good.
That's for all the places.
That's that's nationwide.
So what we're going to talk about basically today is Medicare, and there's a reason why today, because we are in open enrollment time,
We are
correct?
in the thralls of open enrollment. It started October 15th, and it will conclude December 7th. So it's important for folks, and when we say open enrollment, it's confusing for people because there's a lot of different enrollment periods. There's open enrollment for Social Security, for instance, or to apply for Medicare. There's open enrollment when you're new to Medicare, but it's not open enrollment. It's called initial enrollment.
Even if you're still working and as a senior, there's open enrollment for your 401k too.
There is.
You know,
So
certain periods of time.
It gets confusing
Yeah.
for folks, but this open enrollment term basically addresses standalone Medicare drug plans. They're called PDPs, prescription drug plans, but also it's a time to change your Medicare Advantage plan. And I just want to mention Advantage plans are certified by county. So there may be an Advantage plan in the Medicare New Handbook, they actually call them health plans. So even the terminology is confusing.
Yeah, health plan sounds like a
It
health
could be,
insurance plan.
Yeah, some folks think it's a prescription drug plan.
Yeah.
And there are listed also in the Medicare and New Handbook. And I do have to say, in that handbook is specifics for each state. So our Connecticut Medicare and New Handbook is different from Rhode Island and will be different from Massachusetts. But I want to say the key thing that stays the same is Medicare Advantage plans are certified by county. So just because there's a Medicare Advantage plan in the state does not necessarily constitute it's available in each and every county. We have 8 counties in eastern, in all of Connecticut.
Right.
So that's why when we have to refer someone, it's for the specifics for that managed care product in that county.
So one of the things that I think a lot of people are aware of as far as Medicare goes, maybe aware of it but don't really understand it, are the different parts, and there are a lot, A, B,
Yes.
C, D, and so on. And it seems like it's a very daunting task just to understand why do there have to be different letters and different parts?
It does make it complicated, and we're just going to chat what it took me 25 years to learn, and we're going to do in like 20 minutes.
Oh, right. You've got it really condensed now. Well, I would say the best thing to do is just start, with A. Let's start with A.
I think that's a good place
All right.
to start. Medicare Part A was designed to do specific things. It's designed to pay your hospital bill when you're an inpatient. So you actually go through the admitting process and you stay in the hospital, I'm going to say for 72 hours. So you already know if it's outpatient surgery, even if you're going to the hospital, but you're coming out that day, that's all under Part B. So Part A is inpatient hospital stays. And it's important for people to know the process because there is deductibles, there's a spell of illness associated with the deductible, and we'll talk about that right now. It's not important for people to know all the detail, but this is the process. Say you become a Medicare beneficiary in January. You went to the hospital because you fell down and broke your hip. So you're in the hospital for 2 weeks, and now what do you owe to the hospital? Well, the Part A deductible, which in 2012 is $1,156. It has not been released what it's going to be next year, but for this year, it's $1,156.
Does it always go up every year?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so every year it goes up. Just like insurance premiums go up, this deductible will go up every
Goes
year.
up.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say there are some occasions where it doesn't, but because there's other political things happening.
Right, and that's what causes it to go up.
But you still have a deductible,
Right.
and that's what.
So in other words, you're not just walking in without having to make some kind of payment.
That's
Eventually,
correct.
actually.
So whether you have a supplemental plan that picks up or a retirement package that picks up that deductible, that's a big gap in Medicare Part A. Another important piece of Medicare Part A is, using the same example, now you need care at a lower level, so you need to go to a skilled nursing facility, say for physical therapy, because you broke your hip, they operated,
Now you
they
gotta get
fixed
it
your
back
hip.
to
Yeah,
working.
now you have to be able to function. So they go to the skilled nursing facility. Well, Medicare law says you have to be in the hospital for 3 days, not counting the day of discharge. So folks already know, we use the example of the 2 weeks. But this way, the Medicare beneficiary is already armed, knowing that they need to spend 3 days, not counting the day of discharge, in order to go to a skilled nursing facility for skilled services.
Will a hospital usually accommodate a patient knowing what their situation is? Will they do what they have to do to maybe keep them there for the 3 days so that they can take advantage of that?
Yeah. Typically, if you're going to be sent to a skilled nursing facility, it is because you far exceed the criteria of staying there for 3 days and not counting the day of discharge.
Anyway, yeah.
That's usually the case,
Yeah.
because if it's just a situation that you're in the hospital for 1 day, chances are you're not going to be sent to the skilled nursing facility for intensive rehab when they haven't had the chance to thoroughly diagnose what's the matter with you.
And do the work.
And do the work that's associated with it. That's a good point. But then this is where Medicare beneficiaries need to know what Medicare is going to pay. Because even after jumping through the hoops we talked about, being in the hospital 3 days, going to the skilled nursing
There's
facility,
more hoops?
there is, for skilled nursing and all that intensive stuff. Now, what is Medicare going to pay after all of that? Medicare is going to pay 20 days and 20 days only of the skilled nursing facility. So there will be no, additional payment. However, from day 21 to day 100, there's $144.50 a day copay. So if a Medicare beneficiary stayed in the hospital, say for the 100 days, Medicare is going to pay 20, but for those additional 80 days, you're looking at a bill of $144.50 a day, which exceeds $8,000.
Yeah.
So when people say traditional Medicare, what are the gaps? Well, we already said the Medicare Part A deductible and that co-payment to the skilled nursing facility. That's really what consumers need to know. There's more to Medicare Part A, but for the sake of time, we won't tease it out.
And that'll be a perfect opportunity for us to take a break here. And all we did was get through A. And how many letters are there? We have to speed up.
3 more to go.
Okay, we'll be able to get those in the second segment. Nancy Crudell, the Deputy Director for Operations for Senior Resources. But in general, no matter where you're watching this show at, we're talking about Medicare today. So we'll take a break and come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today, Nancy Crudell. She is the Deputy Director of Operations for Senior Resources. That's in Connecticut, but basically we're here to talk about Medicare today and the parts specifically, because that can get confusing regardless of if you're in Rhode Island or Mass or Connecticut or down by New York. We got through A.
Yes.
All right. After we did a little recap. So let's, I guess we'll just jump right to B. So what's B?
Medicare Part B is designed to pay physicians, lab tests, x-rays, ambulance services. So it's services that you're not typically going to get in a hospital. You're going to get it in the community setting by medical professionals. So that's a nice thing about Part B. You'll utilize it more. And we talked about that deductible for Part A. Well, at least with Part B, it's an annual deductible. So it's a little more simplistic. It's an annual deductible. In 2012, it's $140 is the deductible, so that's already a gap in Part B. And then there's an 80-20 copayment. Medicare pays 80, the consumer pays 20. So when you're looking at a Medigap insurance like we talked about, the deductible is a gap, the $140. There's a premium of $99 and I believe 90 cents for 2013, or maybe a little more, because that goes up too, and the 20%. Those are the gaps in Part B.
Now, when you were talking about Medigap insurance, that's designed specifically to pay the gaps that Medicare doesn't pay.
That's correct.
In all the letters?
Not in all the letters, which is interesting because all those gaps can be filled. However, the plans are designed that if a consumer wants to pay the deductible, that $140, then there's plans that will pay the 20% after the consumer pays the $140.
Gotcha.
They all cover the 20%. So that's a nice feature to have.
Are there lots of different ways you can go for that supplementary Medigap?
There's 10 plans that are certified, I want to make this clear, in Connecticut,
Okay.
there's 10 plans, and they're standardized. What's interesting with the Medigap plans is the coverage is standardized, but the premiums are not. So I encourage folks to look at the coverage first.
You really got to do your research on that.
Absolutely, and they can meet with folks like us. We do not sell anything, that's important to,
Right.
but we give people their options. These are the plans, these are the premiums. We look at things and say, this, you're going to get this coverage if you pay this amount, or if you pay this amount, you're still going to get the same coverage. The plans are standardized.
Do you find the majority of seniors, when they're eligible and are on Medicare, do they opt for the Medigap coverage as well? Or is it an income issue and they sometimes, you know, it's a tough thing to do?
It is a tough thing to do. Oftentimes people want choice.
Right.
They want to be able to access health care. Well, with our neighbors, Massachusetts or Rhode Island or in New York. And a supplemental plan will pick up, because as long as the physician's Medicare certified, the doctor's going to get paid, the provider's going to get paid, and so is the 20% or whatever deductibles and co-pays provided. That's different than a Medicare Advantage plan that are certified, again, by county, and you have a provider list, because they may have different rules. It won't be an 80-20, but it could be when you see your primary care physician, you pay $10
Right.
per visit. If you see a specialist, you pay, and I'm making these up,
Right.
like $25. It's not the detail, it's the process that I'm addressing. Or it may say, if you're in the hospital for 5 days, you pay $200 a day for the first 5 days, and we'll pick up after that. So there might be a little, you know, there's differences between traditional Medicare with a supplement versus Medicare with an Advantage plan.
Before we continue on, why, and I ask this question to a lot of people, why is healthcare costs so out of control, whether it be for seniors or really anybody in general?
You know, medical techniques, medical technology has improved leaps and bounds.
It has.
I want to say in the last, look at where we've come in the last 50 years, but that comes with a price.
Yeah.
And when you look at the providers that are skilled in this area, to go to school, to become a professional, whether it be a doctor or a registered nurse or any kind of medical, you know, profession, you're looking at some heavy costs for tuition, for college, and technology. You know, it's not potato chip technology, it's computer chip technology, which is a lot more expensive.
Yeah. So would you say then that the costs are justified or understandable?
I would say they're understandable, and there are some, I want to say, flaws in the system regarding fraud. You hear about Medicare fraud all the time.
That really jacks the cost up too.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And I don't want to pick on the unnecessary tests in medical, because some are very necessary. But a lot of times the fraud is perpetrated through durable medical equipment, which seems to be a big ticket item that I want to say the fraud is now being targeted with durable medical equipment, because there are some issues with durable medical equipment. And I want to say fraud typically starts in Florida and works its way up the East Coast.
Is that where everyone's retired? Is that why?
But there's a lot of ingenious ways to build.
Yeah. How about the pharmaceutical companies? People always knock them. Is there an agenda?
Pharmaceutical companies take a rap in a lot of ways, and part of it is because there's generics and then there's brand names. Oftentimes the same pharmaceutical company makes the generic and also makes the brand name. But usually the recipe, regardless of how it's replicated, is the same as the generic, but what changes is the bonding agents. And this is where some folks run into trouble, because if you're on a brand name because you're a diabetic, and now the generic form is bonded with glucose, now that's not going to work with your individual condition. It probably works for a lot of other folks out there that don't have diabetes. But when you have a company that makes both, you know, there's incentive.
Is there a conflict of interest? Or?
I don't, there may or may not be. It depends on what the drug is designed to do.
Right.
One piece that I just heard, and believe me, I'm not a pharmacist, I want to make that clear, at a conference, it was discussed that even with brand names, if they change one molecule in a typical recipe, now they can market that as a brand name under a different, because it's a different product because one molecule was changed.
It's almost like a semantics thing.
It is.
How about, are we too, as a society, too eager to pop pills, and are doctors too eager to just write a prescription?
You know, oftentimes folks think that, but I've seen individuals that prefer both. Instead of doing what I'm supposed to do health-wise, I just want to take a pill and be happy.
Instead of getting to the root cause of the problem and trying to fix it at
Other
the source.
folks really pay attention that they don't want to take aspirin, they don't want to do this, they don't want to be on prescription drugs. So it comes down to personality, health condition, how well you can communicate with your medical team, because you have to make your wishes known as well.
Let's move on to C.
Okay, C is a marriage of Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, and Part D, which we haven't even gotten to yet. But that marriage is called, and we talked about a little bit, is a Medicare Advantage plan that are certified by county and that have a provider list. And typically the process behind the scenes is the managed care plan approaches CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, say we want to be certified in this geographical location to sell a Medigap, not a Medigap, a Medicare Advantage plan.
Which is different.
Yeah, it is. So CMS says, okay, we'll give you X amount of dollars, and when the consumer signs up with your Medicare Advantage plan, they have to sign, I want to say, to enroll in a plan, that they understand the providers are in this list, they understand what hospitals are in this list. So the Medicare Advantage plan can, or if they choose to, because they usually have a number of products, may charge the consumer a premium, and some are zero. But it's zero in the sense of the computer. No, the consumer doesn't have to pay the premium.
Soon will be computers someday.
I know. I'm sounding like a computer right now. So the consumer doesn't have to pay the premium. But CMS, Medicare, is given the managed care plan X amount of dollars. So it's not free, it's just the consumer's not paying the premium.
Is a Medicare Advantage plan like an HMO, whereas a Medigap plan is just more independent, freelancing, sort of?
Absolutely. Yeah. A Medicare Advantage plan is managed care. They do have different products. An HMO is a health maintenance organization. They may have a PPO, which is Preferred Provider Organization. They may have a different name where you can go out of network. However, if you do,
cost
the
you
key
more.
is going to, exactly. You go out of network with a PPO, it costs you more. You go out of network with an HMO, it costs you a lot more.
Right. Are we all done with C?
We are all done
Okay, so
with
then
C.
let's go to D.
Okay, D is in the throes of open enrollment, like we talked about already. And D is, I want to say, modeled after Part B of Medicare, because there's a deductible. It's in 2013. I don't believe it's going to go up. It's $325. In 2012, it was $300, so it did go up by $25. So there's that deductible. And then after that, it's a 75-25% copay. The things that we encourage people to do is, in Connecticut, there's 30 standalone prescription drug plans. Now, we're a small state, so we have 30 plans to choose from. The first question I always get is, what's best for me? What plan is best for me? And the answer is always the same. The plan that is best for you is the plan that covers your prescription drug meds. Nationwide, there's about 300 different formularies, and if your drug isn't on, say you like a plan, and I won't mention any names, well, I'll say Nancy's prescription drug plan. If you like that plan, if you like that plan, but it doesn't cover your meds, it's not a good plan for you.
Yeah, what good is it? Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And enrolling is the best plan. How do we do it? Well, this is how we do it. And this is how Senior Resources does it with their partners in the community, because we can't do it all. We have trained volunteers. We also have focal points, our senior centers. We all do the same thing, www.medicare.gov. And we enter, and this is what's very important for folks, have the correct spelling of your medication, how many milligrams, the dosage, is it 5, 10, 15, and how many times a day you take it. Because it's going to, if you take a prescription drug one time a day, you only need 30 for a month. But if you take it twice, if you take it 3 times, you're going to need more. That information has got to be included. The pharmacy information, who do you use for your pharmacy? And you can choose a couple of them. You may use the local pharmacy in your area and another, I want to say, chain pharmacy. Mm-hmm. You could use that. And that would be on there. We magically input all that information, and what actually the database tells us is the plans, and they list by which is better financially. However, that doesn't mean that's the best plan for you.
We got through D. We went from A to D. We talked about Medicare
We
today.
did.
Nancy Credell, she's been with us before, and I hope you'll come back again because we are just out of time. It seems like we could talk about so much more.
I have so much more to say.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't believe you're tossing me out.
I know. We're out of time. Senior Resources, come back, though, okay?
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. We will see you next time. Take care.